Hello everyone, my name is Gabby, and welcome back to another Dragon Ball Super review. This time reviewing episode 53. Goku, Beerus, and Whis arrive in Universe 10 to meet with Zamasu, a former Kaiō who is currently preparing to become a Kaiōshin. Goku hears that Zamasu is a gifted fighter and wants to fight with him, but Zamasu is hesitant, distrusting mortals. His superior then tells him to fight with Goku so he can try to understand mortal kind better. As the two fight, Goku realizes that Zamasu's ki is very similar to Black, although not identical. As a Super Saiyan 2, Goku overpowers him, but says that he's impressed with Zamasu's power. Goku and Ko then leave to go back to their universe. The Kaiōshin's time rings were still there, and Zamasu's ki wasn't identical to Black, but they're still a little suspicious that Zamasu might in fact be Black. And as the Kaiōshin return to their normal lives, Zamasu says that Goku's power proves him how dangerous mortals are. He won't forget this. So, what did I like about this episode? Well, first of all, I really do like Zamasu's sort of motivations and Zamasu's character. He's this. Well, now he was a Kaiō and now he's going to be a Kaiōshin, and he's probably been alive for hundreds, maybe even thousands of years, and he's been looking over like mortal kind and humanity and everything, and he's just sort of seen this constant cycle of death and destruction. They build and then they destroy each other, and then eventually they kind of survive and they build up again and they destroy each other, and it's this constant cycle. The fact that the humans can destroy themselves. They don't even need a god of destruction to go and intervene to do it for them. So Zamasu's sort of like, why are we protecting these people? Why are we not destroying them? Because they're basically like a waste of time and they're just going to destroy themselves. By regular anime standards, this is a very generic motivation for a character, but by Dragon Ball standards, this is damn near revolutionary. You don't see such a bigger picture like this normally. Like a character talking about humanity in general. It's not just about like this. It's not just about like Saiyans, or it's not just about like people on Earth. So I think it's really interesting and it's really like expansive. And the thing I also really like about this is because that Zamasu has a point. He kind of has a point. Like not just the fact that the humans go around and destroy themselves a lot, because, we've seen a lot of times where the Earth is almost going to be wiped out, and that was basically, a lot of the time, mostly just kind of their fault, especially stuff like, the androids and Cell, but also the fact that, Goku is a human, well, he's a Saiyan, but Goku is a Saiyan, and he is stronger than a lot of the gods. He's stronger than Zamasu right now, only as a Super Saiyan 2. And Zamasu is like, yeah, that's dangerous, and I totally understand why he would think that's dangerous, because that is dangerous. Like I could totally understand why Zamasu, when seeing Goku, wasn't like, wow, Goku's so cool, but wow, Goku's actually dangerous. He's a threat. He is something that the universe shouldn't have allowed to exist. And I love that. Like, this was literally like my wish list for if I was ever going to have a new DBZ villain. This is the kind of villain I actually wanted. Someone who thought that Goku was too dangerous in the balance of the universe because he was too powerful for who he was, and that Goku should be like destroyed. That was literally what I've always wanted, and Zamasu was very close to that. So I find that so awesome. It's also interesting that they kind of seem to be implying this sort of like stable time loop where that like the fact that Goku and Beerus and Whis go around and ask Zamasu about this stuff in the first place about Black, and the fact that Goku fights with Black is going to be like the thing that triggers Zamasu maybe to become Black in the future. And it's like this weird kind of stable time loop thing, and it's like, that's really interesting. If that's actually what is the case with Black, I think that's a really interesting idea, and that's a real sort of time travel kind of plot that we never really did. We never really did a kind of stable time loop like this, so I think that's also really interesting. Also, Trunks meeting 18. It was short and sweet, and it was kind of pretty much just as what you would expect. Okay, so how would Trunks react to realizing that Krillin is married to 18? They answer that, and it's not such a big deal. It's just like, oh my god, it's 18, and he's like scared for about like 5 seconds, and then eventually he realizes, oh, okay, 18 is nice now. She's good now, I guess. That's interesting. All we need is Goten, and we can pretty much just say that we have used the return of Future Trunks to its complete, like, logical conclusion of having him react to basically everything everyone wanted him to react to. He's reacted to Gohan, he's reacted to Bulma, he's reacted to Vegeta, and he's reacted to Goku being alive again. Now he's reacted to 18, so pretty much it's just Goten, and then we can just say this is completely, like, Future Trunks coming back was implemented the best way they could have done it. As for what I didn't like about this episode, well, first of all, the characterization of Goku. It's kind of been a thing throughout this arc, but especially in this episode, Goku just kind of felt almost out of character. Or at least exaggerated. His personality felt exaggerated. The fact that, like, he was acting like he was a, like, hyperactive kid who didn't take his medication today. He was just always just, like, running up there and being like, hey, Zamasu, I want to fight you. Can we fight now? Can we fight now? Can we fight now? I know Goku's character is he wants to fight strong opponents, but this felt really like he's never this bad, except, like, maybe in episode 42, which I realized was also the same writer as this episode. So, and even in episode 42, he wanted to fight Monaka, and Goku thought Monaka was stronger than him, and that he'd beat Hit. So of course he'd kind of be excited. But here, it's not very much of the same excuse. Like, Zamasu's just some guy who might not even be that strong, and Goku's still, like, acting like he's on a massive sugar rush just because he wants to fight this guy. And I think the thing that really sells me that I didn't really like about the way they handled Goku is that Zamasu didn't want to fight him, and Goku still didn't care. He was still, like, even though Zamasu looked so uncomfortable with this idea, but Goku's still like, okay, well, can we fight now? Can we fight now? Can we fight now? Like, he didn't understand the fact that Zamasu didn't actually want to fight him. And, like, that's incredibly self-absorbed for Goku to do. And I know people are going to say Goku is normally self-absorbed, but I don't think he's normally this self-absorbed. And, like, the Trunks love triangle thing, like, they did a whole kind of, like, subplot about that this episode, and while it was funny, especially with, like, the Pilaf gang trying to get their romance to blossom and having it kind of fail miserably, I feel like it was just a little bit, once again, kind of exaggerated, and also it felt like there was kind of not really a point to it. Like, pretty much I feel like last episode really kind of communicated what the entire plot of it was about. Like, I feel like it did a really good job of explaining it. I feel like this scene was kind of unnecessary. It was just kind of telling us things that we already knew. Especially if, like, this subplot doesn't really lead too much, and it's just kind of like a comedy thing, it just feels like this kind of just felt like a bit of a pointless scene. I'm just kind of worried they're going to just play the same joke over and over and over again, because, like, that's a great way to fill time, but at this point it has already gotten old, so I hope they don't do that. As for next episode, Future Trunks is going to seem like he's going to fight with Vegeta, and just judging by some of the stuff that we found out about this episode, it seems like this episode is going to be the episode where we find out whether Future Trunks will be able to catch up to Goku and Vegeta or not. And I've got to say, either way, I'm very excited to see how they're going to handle it. I mean, as someone who didn't particularly care whether Future Trunks caught up or not, the idea of him catching up could be really, really interesting if it's handled well. I just hope that whatever happens in the next episode, it is handled well. So that was Dragon Ball Super episode 53. I mean, I'll be honest, it was only just okay. It's probably my least favorite episode of this arc so far. Mostly just because I feel like, yes, the character personalities were exaggerated. While there were some really interesting things about the overall storyline that I was interested in, the fact that I just couldn't get over the fact that Goku just felt so flanderized, and there were all the other subplots as well, sometimes they felt a bit too forced for comedic effect. It doesn't help that the fight between Goku and Zamasu didn't look very good at all. But I mean, this was just one episode. At this point, if an episode is crap, I'm going to start blaming the writing team, because I realized the guy responsible for this episode wasn't the one responsible for the first few episodes of the Future Trunks arc. It's not that new writer I was talking about a few weeks ago, so that's probably why things felt really different and a lot more kind of like old Super and not like new Super. But either way, I'm still excited for next week's episode, and of course, I'm excited for what's going to happen the rest of this arc. So this is Gabby, signing out, and I'll see you all next week. Bye, guys!